2023 was also the year of cinema comebacks. Bollywood was down and out in 2022. Southern cinema was the flavor of the season. But 2023 saw an avalanche of Bollywood blockbusters. Take for instance Shah Rukh Khan. He hadn't had a hit in nearly 8 years. He came back with a hat-trick of blockbusters. And movies like Animal and Gadar 2 were part of a wave of mega blockbusters which experts say have earned the industry over 12,000 crore. It's the biggest Bollywood year ever. And joining me to discuss this huge turnaround in Bollywood's fortunes are film critic MAYANK SHEKHAR, trade analyst GIRISH WANKHEDE, and of course my colleague Geeta Datta. MAYANK, GIRISH, welcome to the News9 Plus show.
Hi, thank you.
MAYANK, did Shah Rukh Khan save Bollywood this year?
Totally, completely, absolutely. Like there was this big gap he'd had in terms of figuring out what the audiences want, and it turned out he didn't just revive his own career; he ended up reviving Bollywood. And the reason I'm saying that is because it really started with January, isn't it? 2023 January is when Pathaan came out. It seemed like everything was rather bleak, and he figured out exactly what people want. And he didn't do it keeping in mind a post-pandemic world. He did keeping in mind his own career, but he ended up reviving Bollywood alongside.
Right. 3 hits in a... I'm trying to remember the last time anyone delivered 3 blockbusters in a row. We'll come back to that a little later, but I want to ask Girish. Girish, what explains this massive 12,000 crore box office year ever? I mean, it's good films or an audience that's just tired of watching OTT and television?
No, it is actually the great content, because we had a bad year last 2022, and this year has been amazing with, as Mike said, with Pathaan, and then we had Jawan and Animal, Gadar 2, Leo, Jailer, Tiger 3, Salar, Rocky and Rani Ki Prem Kahani, Adi Purush, Donkey. So if you see, there are more than 10 films which has collected more than 100 crores.
Right.
And there are average and semi-average films which have done, like films like Sam Bahadur and Oh My God 2, which were released with the biggest films, are also able to do almost 100 crores.
There was space for everyone basically in this,
so if you see, this has been one year where you have got more than 10 blockbusters.
Right.
Then we have got more than 4 or 5 super hits.
Yeah.
More than 3 average hits. And the numbers of disaster were very less this year. There are only 3 or 4 disasters like Shehzada or Tali or Bheed. And beside this, everything has worked on box office.
Everything's worked, Geeta, and we were talking about this last year. Remember this story that you had done about the death of the industry? Like, it's literally, it was the end for Bollywood, and people said it would take decades to recover. But what do you make of this string of successes like MAYANK and
they had
Girish
to revive. I mean, we've
that hit so rock bottom that the only way to go
and
for was
also
up.
Hindi films have gone up and down. Like if you look at the history of Hindi films, they've gone up and down. So thankfully they did it this year, because they had terrible 2 years. And Pan India was the word last year. Everybody was talking about it. Of course, it was the South Indian films in some sense that sort of led the thing because of action and all of that. And like Mayank said, he didn't plan it, but he got it. Shah Rukh got into it, and then if you've seen, most of the hit films are action-oriented films that have really done well.
That lend well to big screen adaptations. And
he's not mentioned PS2, which is again, big canvases and big action.
Right. And Mayank, Shah Rukh was one of the oldest action heroes at what, 58? But just wait a minute. There's Sunny Deol at 66, right, with Gadar 2.
Yes.
What explains this phenomenon again? I mean, guys who are like, Amitabh Bachchan was playing a father when he was 55 or 56.
Yes.
And what explains Shah Rukh and Sunny Deol at, eternal, like Rajinikanths, Bollywood Rajinikanths?
But in the case of Sunny Deol, of course, it's the fact of Gadar, right? The fact that as a franchise is sort of still alive in public imagination, nobody could have expected those numbers. I know for a fact the producers are not. All right. Only the director did. He had some massive conviction that the whole world is going to come and watch Gadar 2, and they did. Right. But I think eventually what's happening right now, Sandeep, is the fact that will be like probably like look back at some point.
Geeta, is it what Mayank says? You believe that it's actually we are in the middle of an event like this where we can't really kind of put our finger on what's going on right now, and it'll probably be written off many years later. I'm sure Mayank's going to come out with a book.
One-liner, yes, yeah. Angry Young Man or whatever. But for me, Action is Back would be the headline currently.
Action is back, yeah.
And like how. So that is the biggest headline. Seeing all these films that have really done well. But I do want to ask Mayank. Mayank, how do you look at the content that is really doing well? Have we gone back to the Angry Young Man phase, 70s, where we picked up topics and, made films with action? Or have we gone back to the 80s kind of films, which really, the less talked about 80s decade of Hindi filmed better? But currently, how do you look at the content in the kind of films that are doing really well?
So here it is, right? I mean, of the top 8, all of them are hardcore action blockbusters,
yes.
Right? Whether you take Pathaan, Jawan, Leo, Jailer, Animal, Tiger 3, you can fill in the blanks, but you know what I mean. And all that's common between them is the fact there's some madness going on the screen,
right.
Which could well be a function of the fact that that's what we want to see on a big screen, right? We don't want to see intimate dramas on a big screen anymore. We already have that on our OTT platforms, and that's what our evening is going to be if we're not stepping out, right? So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that the fact that action has always been the genre. Yeah. So we call it Angry Young Man, but they were really watching action movies.
Right.
Amitabh Bachchan movies were just action movies, and so were the 80s that followed, and of course, a lot of people did not like that whole phase.
Yeah.
If anything, for at least 4 or 5 of the top 8, these are really 80s movies.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah. Girish, we spoke about this some time ago. Sorry, Mike, I'm going to ask Girish this about the Marvelification of Bollywood. We talked about all these new Marvel Comics franchises that have been coming through, like Leo, for instance. Leo is part of another franchise. You have Jailer is another one. Do you think we are in the phase where Hollywood was about 10 years back, before all the MCU movies started tanking?
No, we were always ahead. We were always contemporary with Hollywood. In fact, they started it, but we were also having Golmaal series, and there were so many series which even we produced. Hera Fairy was already there.
Right.
So not it's a novel for us, but yes, the franchisee itself has a great value. Now, if they do Fast and Furious, and if they do Mission Impossible, we also do. We will start doing now with Pathaan and Jawan. Now we have already
or Pathaan versus Tiger, or Tiger versus Pathaan.
We have actually started taking hold of the spy universe, which is doing amazingly. There are already 4 films which are super hit from Yash Raj, and that spy universe is going to grow.
Right.
With like Spy Universe, we have a lot of franchises like Gadar and Welcome and Hera Fairy. So they always score. Now Animal will also have a sequel to it.
Animal Farm. Yeah.
Animal Farm. So we were always there with the sequels. There were always acceptability for the franchisee, and looking at the great success of Spy Universe, I think we will be doing a lot of work on Spy Universe, as well as there are already talks about Dhoom also, which will be reviving in the franchise.
Yeah, and Geeta, what's your prediction? What's going to be the biggest movie of 24?
Well, I know for a fact that action will continue, and I'm looking forward to Fighter, because we want to see the Desi version of Top Gun, I guess, with Hrithik.
Of course.
There
Who else to play?
Who else
Tom
to play
Cruise
that?
But Hrithik.
There'll be that, and then hoping to see the Ranbir Singh and Ranbir Kapoor's films, because they are these two guys who are really exciting. Because for me, I think the 2023 film that's really stood out was Rocky Aur Rani, because it brought in a lot of things that you normally don't.
Not Animal.
Not animal. Sorry.
I wonder
women
why.
have disappeared in all of these.
Geeta's studied silence on animal shall be recorded.
Yes.
Girish, what's your prediction for 24? Is it as Mike says?
Next year will be for Akshay Kumar. He has got 3 releases.
Right.
So there will be big Akshay Kumar. Then we have Fighter, of course, with Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah.
We have Vijay Sethupath's Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And then we have got lot of films. But yes, the major releases from the A-list stars are of Akshay Kumar.
Yeah.
And I certainly believe that action genre is there to continue. And with Akshay Kumar, we will have a lot of action which will be seen in the coming year.
Right. With that, we end our discussion. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Mayank, Girish and Geeta, we'll keep watching this fascinating return of Bollywood, the year that Bollywood discovered its animal spirits, if you will.
News 9 Plus. Download now.